Get my workstation in place.
Interesting. What is going on, Crypto Familia? Happy Thursday and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'm one of your co-hosts. And today we will be talking about finally, the Ethereum Foundation has come out and they've given us a hard date on the Ethereum merge. Also, we are going to be joined by a friend of the channel, Forrest from CryptoStackers Pro. Some of the best technical analysis and market insight in the cryptocurrency industry. He will be joining us in about 15 minutes. So if you're watching after the fact, we will have timestamps provided for you to navigate freely. With that being said, also, please keep in mind that anything anyone says on this channel should never be taken as financial advice. So please, as always, do your own research.
What about me? What about my advice?
With that being said, Robin's advice you definitely don't take. Speaking of Robin, your other co-host, Big Rob, was...
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome! I said City Crypto. If it's
Can
your first
you
time
stop doing that?
What?
Welcome! Like, what's the point of that?
I bring the heat, bro.
That's not heat. That's annoying.
You're
put a 1
annoying.
if you think that's annoying. Rocco, put a 1 for Sin City Crypto, please.
How about you're calling me? I sit here and I listen to your intro, and then I let you throw it all out there, and then I start my intro. And you're like, annoying.
Well, I don't get this. Welcome. Anyways, continue.
People like the hola. People like the annoying. People like the welcome.
Rocco, do you like the welcome?
I like to move on.
He likes to move on. There you go. Good idea.
Let's move on.
Also, here's the City Crypto. We don't just do live streams. We also periodically argue during the live stream. We do shorts. We do other content. We also request a like button.
We do longs too.
We are a little shy on our like button target here. And also, if you have not subscribed, you're new here, subscribe. Also, if you're new here, say what's up so we can say what's up right back to you. And then notification bell. You don't want to miss all of our content, which we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline. So got some NFT convention here in Vegas. Hopefully, we're going to put some stuff together for that. Now, are you excited?
About
The date is here. And no, it's not
The
10
date.
years. It's not 10 years from now, David. I know
Okay,
you
now-
have
now-
been
guys, up until this point, it's been the developers of Ethereum that have put a target date out. Now, it is official because the Ethereum Foundation, obviously Vitalik is part of, has officially confirmed a target date range, and it's not a 6-month range. It's about a 10-day range, and we will discuss that in our talking points. But before we get into any content, anything, I would like to send it over to Robin to do
roll call. All right. So taking a look, first in the chat today, we got Big Swole. Round of applause for Big Swole. Congratulations.
even though he uses Apple Maps.
Now, Robert Salazar, Brokyoshi Jason. We got AZ, Jimmy, Brokyoshi Nordy, Marky Mark, Peter Koo, and then Strictly Sports. And who else we got here? Bullish Kenny G. Kind of a light show today. We got
Nordy.
Riley, first in the chat. Hola! Welcome. Sin City Crypto.
You just said Big Swole was first in the chat.
First time. First time here, yes. And
also, don't forget Nordy.
And also Jay Hugh. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. We got Matt K up in here, and then HP, Terry, Luis, Atomic Adam, Servando, and I think that rounds it up. Oh, and Control Alt Delete. Why You Loud Gang, Fino. That's it. If I missed your name, tell me I missed it. We'll give you a little shout out there in the back end.
HP said his girlfriend thinks you're sexy.
What?
HP,
Where's that at?
HP, has your girlfriend, has she been on any sort of antibiotic medication, any mind-altering medication? You're too early, Rocco.
You can't do it. Stop it. I need to stop.
Well, you know what? I haven't said it in a while, but
I would.
Your boy looking sweet.
Jesus.
Look what you started, HP. Look what you started. Never talk with your girlfriend here. What is she?
It's been a while since I did that one. It's been a while since we had a story time.
And there's a reason. I know. You know what? I kind of miss story time.
You miss story time?
Yeah. Will you give us story time today?
Yes.
You will?
Later in the show.
You'll give us a story time.
I will pull one out of the bank. I got plenty of them.
Okay, it's not going to be one we've already heard, right?
No. It'll
And
be a
Jimmy
first-
wants to know,
first-
where's your white hat?
my white hat,
Yeah.
the wizard hat.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm in the process of hacking right now.
You
And,
are.
once I accomplish a multi-million-dollar hack and I return the funds, I
You
will
will get
I will receive my.
And you'll be so happy with it, right, Robin?
I
That's
will.
what you said
Of
yesterday.
course, yes.
Oh my God, I'd be so happy because it's just like worth so much money.
I know nobody has any idea what we're talking about if you didn't watch your show yesterday. So
Well, that is why you have to watch the show. David is more handsome in person. Highlight that right now. Highlight that, Rocco. Jason, just for that comment. I don't know, but I'll think about it. I'll get you some, my man. Appreciate you. Anyways, I want to pull up a. I want to pull up. I want to pull up a tweet. So, this is how bad and how crazy things are and are about to get in Europe, and this has just this is going to have an impact here in the U.S. as well. So this is a tweet from Digital Asset News. If you're not familiar with this channel, I would highly recommend you go subscribe. This is Rob. Another Rob. He joined our channel a few weeks ago. Great content, great
can
guy.
we get Rob back on? Is he
Yes,
busy?
we like
did
Rob.
he,
Rob is
did he
great.
like us?
I don't know.
Because sometimes people come on and they
I
just
think
ghost
he
us.
liked us. Well, I think he liked me. I don't know about you. You're kind of hard to like, but I mean,
Rob, if you're watching, come on back.
he did give us a shout out on his channel, so I'm assuming he likes us. I've already asked this, and it's been confirmed from Twitter folks living in Europe on just how bad electricity costs are. The real question is, how do you deal with the astronomical price of electricity and inflation at 13% going to 18% as predicted? Guys, these are electricity prices in Europe. This is euros per megawatt. This is insane. We're approaching 600 almost dollars for every megawatt of power per hour. This is scary stuff, man. You're talking about power, obviously, keep people's lights on, to keep the
So
food in
basically,
their fridge cold.
it's now, what is that, like 8 times more expensive for power, right?
About 6 times.
Does it look?
Well, yeah.
No, because
Yeah,
it looks
about
like
8
you're
times,
at
yeah.
half. You're at 50.
Close to 50, yeah.
I don't know. What does the left signify? Is that like a price?
This is the price, and this is the
I
euro.
was just trying to figure out the units on the left. I think that's a euro.
These are, euros.
So like half a euro per megawatt hour or something like that.
No,
Or
600.
whatever. Either way, they were at the 50 there. And so, I mean,
Looks like it's averaged about 50, yeah.
So that would be over 10 times, right?
Yeah.
At over 500. I mean, it kind of depends on where you extrapolate from, but
And you got to remember the resounding effects this is going to have, not just in Europe. I mean, if people have to spend more money on power to power their homes and their refrigerators and whatever else they have you have in your house to use power for, you're not going to have money left over to do stuff like invest, save for retirement. You might not even have enough money to buy groceries. I mean, it's absolutely messed up, and it's going to trickle down into everything, and crypto included. And I know looking at something like this, crypto is probably the last thing you're thinking about. But just because we are a cryptocurrency show, I'm going to have to highlight it. You got to spend more money on power. You're not going to have enough. You're not going to have any money left over to invest in cryptocurrency. So,
yeah.
What kind of effect is that going to have on a global?
I don't even think about it just in the fact of like, how much money you have to invest in crypto. I look at it like, what is the cost of living? Also, people also discount the cost, because, okay, here's one thing. Corporations, institutions, basically commercial entities, your retail sector. So just think of a shopping center. They all have to have power. The same thing for, a standalone gas station, for example. And profit and margin losses, or profit and margin is extremely tight. And so if you have 10 times the power bill, you got to account for just for that. And, if you have a thin profit margin, you got to raise prices just off of that. That doesn't account for all of the energy that needs to be used to transport goods from one place to another and the supply chain and all that. But just at its core value, if I'm paying more for my gas, more for my electricity, and I have a higher utility bill in that sector, yeah, of course, it's going to eat into the bottom line of how much money I have or how much capital I have to survive. After you deduct your rent and all of your other utilities, you have less less purchasing power. And so it doesn't only translate to the retail sector, but also over into the commercial side. So I think that's also a contributing factor when it comes to the prices and inflation. Yeah.
Here's a tweet I want to highlight. I currently pay 162 euros a month for gas and electric. Last year, this time it was 90. My estimate for next month is 479 euros.
Jesus.
I simply can't pay it. I don't have the money. I'm recovering from major surgery. It's a massive worry every single day. It's beyond ridiculous. If you take it outside of financial and monetary, think about the psychological effects this is going to have on people.
This is huge, man. I mean, this one example, I don't know if this is an outlier, but I mean, if we're taking that chart that you had before, does seem like it is a consensus across the board. But if you live in Europe and you're just all of a sudden going from $90 on your power bill to $500, that's no good. And what we're seeing is projected inflation numbers in Europe reaching as high as 18%, which is on par for hyperinflation that we saw in some of these third world countries that was always used as an example. You'd always hear, Michael Saylor saying, oh yeah, well, look at this country, they have historically high, hyperinflation, debasing their currency. I mean, that's what we're actually seeing in real time in developed nations, first world nations, in the European Union. And you know what? We're not far behind. We were 9 point something percent 2 months ago. And you know what? That's less than 1% away from a double digit figure. And so we're seeing a slowdown in the global economy. Now, you can make the case for, will it bleed over and affect the crypto market? Because you can make an argument that Bitcoin hedge against inflation. You can go that way. But what you can't deny is that Europe and the global economy, you look at the DXY, it ain't looking good. And we are going into a global recession. The US, as doo-doo as it is, we're actually on a pedestal right now, man. We're actually doing okay. Because I wouldn't want to live in Germany right now. I wouldn't want to live in France. And I don't know what that's going to look like in 3 months. And you know what? Russia shut down the pipeline again for emergency
maintenance or whatever.
Emergency maintenance. They didn't explain it.
Okay.
They just shut it down.
I was going to ask you a question, but I'm going to wait till Forrest is on. David O said, we're in the UK and our energy price cap is rising every 3 months now to account for all of this. It's going to be a tough winter for a lot of people.
And then also we got Javier up here new in the chat. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Cool.
What's up, Javier?
Yeah, anyways, we need to keep a close eye on what's going on in Europe, because remember, all the economies are, it is an economic web. With the downfall of one major company as far as their economy or their stock market, essentially has a cause and effect to the other major players. All of the major banks are tied together. They all lend money to one another. And so this is not an acute situation. And so I think we got some serious problems on the horizon. I don't think inflation here in the U.S. is going to dramatically drop. It might, maybe we'll see a 7%, but we ain't hitting that 2% anytime soon. And I think tomorrow's Jerome Powell coming in and having his little webinar or whatever. The live stream, Jerome Powell from Jackson Hole. I don't think we're going to get anything favorable.
Jackson Hole going to put us in a hole.
That's right. Anyways, speaking of putting it in the hole, our boy CryptoStackers, he is a man. A professional at golfing.
Okay, I was going to say, where the hell are you going with this, bro?
Yeah, we went out. We hung out with him in Atlanta, and the man got a mean swing, bro. And you know what? I'm sure he's got some hole-in-ones in his days.
Dude, I was like, end the stream right now. All right, let's bring on our friend Forrest.
Hey,
what's up, Forrest?
What's up? Was not sure where you were going with that.
Yeah, me neither, bro. I was like, we're about to get canceled, dude, or what? Dude, what are you doing? How you doing, brother?
You remember the Happy Gilmore when he's like yelling, he's like, get in the hole. Remember that? You ever watched that movie?
Happy Gilmore? Who hasn't watched Happy Gilmore?
It's funny, when we were at Top Golf, it literally was a picture of a guy running with the golf club, and they were like, no running, swinging, or whatever it is. I'm telling you, it had to come. straight from that movie, bro.
You think so?
Had to.
Forrest, have I asked you about what your thoughts are on barbecue chicken pizza?
Yes, you asked him.
Yeah,
you asked
yeah.
him
Last
there
time.
at
Not a
Top
fan.
Golf.
Not a fan.
All right, fair enough. All right, Forrest. On a serious note, did you hear the whole conversation about the power energy prices in Europe? What are your
Yeah, I did.
Do you want to kind of share your thoughts? Obviously, it's not good. It's bad. But you want to share your thoughts on a macro level and kind of the trickle down effect it can have, not just in Europe, but here in the U.S. as well.
Yeah, so one of the things that I always like to look at is the price of crude oil, but I believe in Europe it's more of a natural gas issue. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the issue is stemming from the whole Russia-Ukraine debacle. I do think that these energy prices will come back down. It's very similar to the opposite that we saw in oil, where oil basically went negative when COVID happened. It's just not sustainable at that level. And eventually the infrastructure will just have to be built to bring the prices down. It just has to be. They'll have to figure out how to get more energy and cheaper energy, whether it's, drilling more, whatever it ends up being. It has to come down from where it's at right now. I don't know how much higher it can go. But for like $400 or $500 or pound, whatever currency they're using over there, energy per month energy bills are just not sustainable. So yeah, it's obviously really, really bad for their economy in the short term. Really bad to be in that situation, especially if you're somebody who's on the fringes of what even being able to afford that or not. So that's really unfortunate. I hesitate to even bring it up because I hate getting political, but when and of course there's always, people read into it too much, but did you guys ever see that video from like 3 or 4 years ago where it's like Donald Trump talking to I think it's like German politicians about how they were like way too dependent on Russian oil, and they were like laughing him off, and now like they put in like the Curb Your Enthusiasm music after it, and like dude was right. I mean, not to get, I'm not saying I support the rest of everything or, support one politician over the other, but it's crazy to see, this was avoidable. This was avoidable, and it's really, really unfortunate that the politicians were, ignoring this vulnerability. And I think it speaks to the importance of having energy independence as a country, because you never know what can happen. You really never know what can happen, and you don't want to be dependent on another country.
I 100% agree. And whether it's Democrats or Republicans, if the roles were reversed and the other party did what this party did, it would be the same narrative. And so
on that subject, I know we played it a while ago, but just feel like it's pretty prevalent now. But Rocco, I got a video I'm gonna play. So this is Donald Trump at when he obviously when he was president, he was speaking at one of the summits, and Germany was in attendance, and they laughed him off when he was explaining the dependence when it came to Germany's dependence on natural gas from Russia.
Germany will become totally dependent on Russian energy if it does not immediately change course. Here in the Western Hemisphere, we are committed to maintaining our independence from the encroachment of expansionist foreign
When they're all over there
powers.
laughing.
It has been the formal policy of our country since President Monroe.
Yeah, so
and it's not even about like, he was right, blah, blah, blah. It's more about the fact that like this was avoidable, and a lot of people are suffering as a result of it. So unfortunate.
it's also people's ignorance, man. And the fact that, like whether or not you agree with the person that if you think that person is a great candidate to be president or whatever it is. I mean, these people do have a litany of information from different branches of government that is, basically put together in these nice little pamphlets or, nice little books for the president to go over and discuss. And so the man is prepared, whether or not you agree with his overall vision. He does have a lot of information in front of him, and I think as you said, it's avoidable, and it's there, and the warning signs are there, and people are trying to bring up or address the situation before it got to where it is now. And now it's they're trying to react to something that you're talking about infrastructure and takes years and years to build out. So now they're just scrambling.
Let me ask you guys, let's play hypotheticals here. Forrest, Robin, if you were the prime minister in the UK, or if you were the European, whoever the leader is there that kind of has a sway in decisions, would you consider walking back sanctions on Russia to get more oil flowing and to get cheaper energy?
You're in a big political mess there, because geopolitically you're supposed to support your neighbors and neighboring countries. I mean, the EU is you think of it like the states. I mean, obviously,
decisions got to be made at some point, man.
But here's the thing: there are independent countries, but they are all unified under the EU. So I mean, if someone were, if hypothetically speaking, if someone were to invade Texas, for example. It's not like all the other states will be like, well, you know what, we really need that energy, but you got to kind of support.
The EU as a whole walk back the sanctions on Russia.
But the EU is getting attacked. Ukraine is part of the EU. They're not part of NATO, and that was kind of the whole thing that got into it. But Ukraine is part of Europe, or at least it is. In some Western opinions, but Russia says the opposite. But
what are your thoughts, Forrest?
Honestly, I'm not well equipped enough politically with enough political knowledge to really know what the right decision is there. I'll be honest. It's tough. I mean, you can see both sides. At the end of the day, you don't want the people of your country to suffer. And if you can, if Russia is a means to an end to walking back sanctions, if that's going to help the people of your country. And you also have to quantify it in terms of how long is it going to take to get this infrastructure in place to where people can afford energy, and what is the cost benefit in terms of lives, how many people are going to die because they can't afford energy or they can't afford heating or air conditioning. So when you factor that in, it makes it a really difficult situation, because if you don't walk it back, people may die as a result, and you got to have that on your hands. And it's really just a tough situation and a shame. It's very unfortunate.
It's a situation. I'm happy I'm not in a position to control or sway. So,
so what the with the implications of this invasion, you also have the energy is also deeply rooted into I forgot the damn word. Fertilizer. Oh. So your fertilizers are a lot of times made with byproducts of gasoline or of oil. And also, Ukraine was a big exporter when it came to wheat, and Russia was the number one exporter of fertilizer as well. So I do think there's going to be a lot of blowback people aren't really accounting for right now when it comes to crops and yields and feeding nation states that have a high population. And I think when you do speak on death, I think there is going to be a large death toll that comes from this just off of famine and the lack of food and infrastructure when it comes to agriculture and just crop yields. So.
And it all, we're not one world economy, but we're all essentially tied together. We import and export goods to each other. So not a good situation. Got to find a way forward.
So on some crypto news, man, ETH is finally announced. The Ethereum Foundation has announced the ETH merge. It was a time window, and developers had estimated, the dApp developers and the ecosystem has came up with some estimates, but it's now official. And in between the 10th and the 20th, so we just smacked a date right there in the middle. So we're estimating September 15th. But either way, within that little 2-week window, that is when the merge is going to come up. And we know that you've been very passionate and very excited about the merge, especially moving to proof of stake, becoming more of green, probably going to bring more institutional adoption because of the basically proof of work narrative, where too much energy is bad, so you can't touch it. As far as on the optics, now, are you excited? Are you surprised that it's actually here?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. Hopefully nothing's guaranteed yet. All the testnet merges were successful. We need to finish the drill, so to speak. But honestly, I don't know that we will see immediate short-term effects from it. I'm expecting a lot of volatility just in September in general, for reasons we'll get into when we get to the charts. But expecting volatility leading up to it, expecting volatility directly afterwards. But what I'm most expecting is a 6 to 18 month bull market period for Ethereum. And I think that Ethereum can reprice to the upside regardless of what's going on in other markets. Obviously, if other markets are good, I think it'll be more aggressive repricing to the upside. If other markets are bad, it'll probably be lackluster. But I do expect really, really good performance over a period of time, over 6 to 18 months. Maybe longer, but probably 6 to 18 months, and maybe even as soon as 3 months. But I'm not expecting like a super huge, massive pump like Ethereum to 12K within a month of the merge or within a week of the merge. I'm kind of expecting that over a longer period of time. But yes, very, very exciting. I'll be very relieved and excited once it goes through, once it's successful and there's no exploits or bugs.
Amen to that. I was surprised at is a bug they found on the testnet like a day or two ago. I thought that would have pushed it back for sure, but I guess not. Guess they're ready to go. So
yeah, ever since I've been in crypto, and I think it was 2016 when I first started investing, just very, very sporadically. But either way, ever since I've been in crypto, I've been hearing about this merge, and it seemed like a dream scenario, and it's actually here. And at this point, it's no longer this like mythical creature. It's like it's actually happening, and so
real creature.
mythical creature. I'm excited, man. And so I do, to elaborate on your kind of vision as far as price rallies or expectations. It sounds like 6 to 18 months. If it's on the longer end of the 18 months, it sounds like Ethereum will have a long-term rally going into the Bitcoin halving. And so, if that were to play out, let's just say it spends the next 18 months just, making higher highs and higher lows over, a longer time period going into the halving. I mean, that might be one of your best performing assets in the next bull market, outside of some small
funny,
cap.
You laughed at me. You laughed at me when I said ETH will lead will lead this bull run.
Well, I'm saying with it could out of the major large caps.
It's the only one that can. Right?
No,
what do you think,
no,
Forrest?
it's not
Do you
the
think
only.
ETH is the only one that can lead the bull run?
That can
Outside of
for
Bitcoin.
next market cycle.
Yeah. Or even jump started like in 3 months. I don't know. Whenever that time comes.
Oh yeah, I think Ethereum could cause an overall narrative, especially with layer ones. So if Ethereum starts doing really well, honestly, I think that if over the next 6 to 18 months we see a big repricing of Ethereum, I think we'll start to see other layer ones make changes to become more deflationary in nature, and this will become a narrative of token burns like EIP 1550, like AVAX and Solana already have token burns built in. So does Binance Smart Chain, which all those happen to be very highly valued large cap cryptocurrencies. Probably for to some degree because of their deflationary nature and their token burns. But I think people investing in deflationary tokens will potentially become a narrative, and we'll potentially see Ethereum lead the charge there. I think it can lead a mini bull market, but I also think it can be a kind of standalone performer in terms of, when I say standalone, like Ethereum and Ethereum related, the ecosystem, layer twos and whatnot. But again, it's really tough to say until we see it happen. As far as I'm still bullish on Bitcoin next market cycle. I'm still like going into the merge for the net issuance dropping by 50%, the halving. I think that will continue to play out. I just think it'll continue to play out to lesser and lesser degrees in terms of returns every single market cycle. We'll have diminishing returns, but I still think that I still think that Bitcoin could make new all-time highs next market cycle, next halving, and we could kick off a whole nother bull market. But it'd be awesome if we got like a super cycle, like Ethereum merge catalyst pushes us into Bitcoin halving catalyst, and we got like a bull run. That'd be awesome.
Like a 3-year bull market? Hell yeah.
We saw the rise of DeFi the last bull run. Before 2017, there was really no actual DeFi because there was a lack of smart contracts. But we saw that last bull run, and I think to myself, I'm like, what's the next like niche that's gonna pop off, or what's the next sector of crypto is gonna pop off? And I keep discounting the fact that probably what crypto was essentially built for was for finance. Essentially, that was the root intention when they created Bitcoin. It literally says peer-to-peer network on Bitcoin white paper. And so I think that if DeFi, which Ethereum essentially leads that sector, maybe not each and every single month as far as transactions or total value locked, but let's not kid ourselves. Ethereum is the front runner when it comes to DeFi. And with them having so much market adoption and going into the next bull run, I would be keeping a close eye when it comes to DeFi platforms, all of the dApps, because I think that we are going to see a lot more integration when it comes to wallets on your cell phone, corporations, including different forms of payment when it comes to crypto. I think it's going to be more mainstream as far as payments and DeFi, and I think Ethereum is going to lead the charge. So.
Boris, one question from one of our new members here, and then we'll kind of let you do the charts. Do you think rollups will pump with the ETH merge? Polygon, Loopring, Immutable?
Yeah, I think they're higher beta plays, so they're higher risk, higher reward plays. I'm personally just, because the catalyst is intrinsic to, like, the changes that are happening are intrinsic to Ethereum in particular, like Ethereum's tokenomics. That's why I'm focused. And I think that actually, being in a large cap right now in a bear market, that, if things do go south, is probably going to hold its value better in terms of the market going south, not in terms of the merge going south. If the merge goes south, all bets are off. It's going to suck. Screwed. It's going to be off. But if I do think so, a lot of that value will leak over into stuff like Lido, stuff like Polygon, stuff like Optimism. When Arbitrum eventually launches a token, that I do think the Ethereum ecosystem will benefit, but the merge catalyst is intrinsic to the direct tokenomics of Ethereum directly. And I just said directly twice, but that's where I'm focusing my bets. I think that's the safest risk to reward, or the best risk to reward.
And Forrest, we're not going to talk about this right now, but you did have a great thread on tokenomics, and I wanted to ask you that, but we'll talk about that when you're done with the chart. So we're going to hand this thing over to you, my friend. Do what you do best.
Sure. I bet, I bet I did the same exact thing as last time, and I entered without being able to share my screen. I might have to disconnect for a second.
Oh, it's all good.
Don't leave us, please.
In the meantime, what's your vibe on this Skycoin?
No idea what that is.
No. Yeah, I see it. It is basically a meme coin, something that came out of nowhere.
Why are we talking about meme coins in a bear market, guys? Come on.
It's
but the thing is, look at Jimmy Weibel, Aave and Matic. Like, those are solid.
Isn't Skycoin part of the McAfee thing?
I know nothing about Skycoin. Like, zero.
No, but the McAfee. So you heard about the McAfee dude, right?
His girlfriend said she thinks he's alive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, anyways, that spurred this whole
Skycoin.
Yeah,
sounds like
Skycoin.
Sounds like the same story with meme coins, bro.
Yep. So it's like, you know what? I thought we moved past this when it came to the.
Apparently not. People are so hungry to get rugged.
It's crazy to me, man, how people will just take on so much risk as well. Also, a quick shout out. We do got a Destroyer up in here, Javier, and then Hadir.
Hey,
And then lastly,
why would you waste your time and money on Skycoin when you can literally pick up Polygon for 80 cents? You can pick up.
yeah. No, I was just surprised that the narrative for meme coins are super risky plays. I felt like those retail investors had left, and I'm surprised that, because I figured the people that were here were the ETH maxis, the Bitcoin maxis, and layer one, people that were really bullish on layer ones like Cardano and all of these other chains. But it just, I guess, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It's just,
honestly, does anything surprise you, dude? I mean, like, come on, guys. At least our community,
DGen's gonna be DGen.
Sure, there is maybe some time in the future where we do invest in meme coins. That ain't now. All right, Forrest, we ready?
No, there ain't gonna be no time.
Yep, I'm ready. Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good, brother. Rock and roll.
Okay. So the market right now is very, very iffy, right? So we are interestingly getting expanding volatility, which is usually concluded with a massive move upwards or a massive move downwards. This is the S&P 500 we're looking at. So that's pretty scary. It's pretty scary if it's to the downside. I can see a potential scenario where this does break to the upside. I know that sounds crazy with a lot of the stuff that's going on globally in recession. However, at the end of the day, a lot of people don't want to be in the dollar. Dollar looks very strong against the rest of the world, but from an investment perspective, getting chipped away at by 8 to 10% inflation is just not ideal. Now, as far as a time frame for when I kind of expect the market to make a decision is probably in November. So I put out a thread on Monday, or maybe it was like Sunday evening, talking about presidential election cycles and the difference between midterm elections consistently every 4 years versus the all other years is staggering. So we are in the worst performing year of the presidential election cycle, and Q2 of year 2 of a midterm year is historically the worst performing year. So looking at this chart here, the blue line is the midterm election years. This is the average return on the S&P 500. All other years are way better. However, after the midterm elections in November, the market historically pumps. There's a crazy statistic, a crazy stat that from the date of a midterm election to June 30th, which are always in November, to June 30th of the following year, basically 7 months later, there's never been a negative market return, which is, to me, absolutely crazy. And on average, over the next 6 months post midterm election, it's an average of a 15% return. Over the 12 months following a midterm election, it's an average of a 16% return. So the way that I look at this is that historically, we have a historical data to support that we do have an average of 16% upside built in from where we're at right now, which would take us back to roughly all-time highs in the S&P 500. Now, that's from where we're at right now. Could we crash before then? Absolutely. We look at this chart and we see historically September is one of the worst months for both midterm election years and all other years. So usually September is a very, very bad month for the S&P 500. So yeah, it's scary. Not only that, but Bitcoin for September. If I go to bitcoinmonthlyreturn.com, not a sponsor, just this is where I could find the data. So historically, September is the worst month for returns on Bitcoin. Now, I value this data less so than the S&P 500 data because obviously we have far fewer years. And I personally feel like Bitcoin's returns are more dependent upon the halving cycles. So this, negative returns in the month of September can be, potentially coincidental. However, we do know that there may be some correlation to Bitcoin's performance with the S&P 500, and we know the S&P 500 performs very poorly historically in September. So all that being said, I would not be surprised to get a really rough September. The market is, if we look at total cryptocurrency market cap, it is already on support, right? It's on this long-term support trend line, which has historically been a good time to buy. But we are moving into September, one of the worst months. However, on the other side of September is one of the best 6-month stretches that we can expect out of the market based on historical data. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. Everyone's thinking, look, this time is different. We're in a different world right now. Globally, things have never looked worse. You've got Russia and Ukraine, high energy prices. This is insane. Presidential election cycle data. Well, you got to remember that this presidential election cycle data goes all the way back to 1900 for the Dow Jones and 1933 for the S&P 500. Both data sets are very, very similar when it comes to year 3 midterm election or post midterm election rallies. This going back to 1900, that takes into account every type of global macro circumstance the world has ever been in, and every single major event. It takes into account 9/11. It takes into account the 07-08 recession. That it takes into account the bond market stuff that happened in the 80s and the 70s. It takes into account World War I with the Dow Jones, World War II. It takes into account the Korean War, Cuban Missile Crisis. All of these events that can potentially shake markets are encapsulated in this analysis of presidential election cycles. So I'm operating under the assumption that we have a 16% cushion built in. Now, that's an average. Sometimes it's going to be above average. Sometimes it's going to be below average. However, we would expect the market to do poorly in year 2 of the election cycle leading up to midterms, and we'd expect a rally afterwards. I'm kind of, for the most part, leaning on that analysis pretty heavily, to be quite honest, and kind of trying to zone out all of the many other variables of global macro that we have going on right now. It's very, very confusing because we do have high energy prices, but at the same time, we've got like kind of a sneaky administration here. Now they're providing debt relief, which is kind of an inflationary measure. And a lot of that debt relief, student loan debt relief, agree with it or disagree with it, not saying I do or don't, but I'm not going to give an opinion, but objectively it is kind of an inflationary measure. And a lot of that liquidity, a lot of that relief money could find its way into the market, right? So that would be a positive pressure. So that's one variable. Then you've got other variables in terms of energy prices, and it gets very complicated. So I am baking in historical analysis that takes into account a lot of time, over 100 years worth of data. So that's why I'm going to be positioned spot long, heavily in Ethereum because of the Ethereum merge, but spot long in crypto. Because not only is crypto cheap right now in relation to where it's been in the past, it's 66% down, but we also have reason to believe we've got a 16% bumper cushion over the next basically 9 months, or post November it'll be around 6 to 7 months where we'd expect the rally, the market to rally about 15%. So I know that's a lot of preface before we even touched on crypto, but I just want to get the kind of base level framework that I'm operating off of, so people can kind of understand why I'm positioning myself long and willing to take the risk. Now, September, historically bad month. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin comes down here and makes either new lows or challenges these previous lows, or maybe just challenges 19K. We have tons of support levels all the way between 19K and about 16.2K. A lot of people worried about 12K. I don't think 12K is on the table in September. I could be wrong about that. It would have to get pretty ugly. But then if we do see 12K for Bitcoin, I'd expect a big rally in November, December. To touch on some of these go ahead.
Real quick, what would be, a realistic, what's your realistic bearish scenario? Like what are your levels there? Like if you think say it does break under that support that trend line there, that bottom trend line. What happens if we go under that, bounce off of it, go further down? What is a realistic bearish scenario for Bitcoin and say like the next 6 weeks or so?
Yeah, so if we get a bearish September, going back to total crypto market cap, what I would potentially, say is my base level scenario would be a double bottom here. I would really be looking for these lows to hold. And I'd be looking for these lows to hold because not only do we have trendline support and previously established buyers here, right? This is also our previous, all-time high in terms of total crypto market cap. So this, in terms of total market cap, would be a reduction, if I can get a move back down about 19%, right? So if we extrapolate that over to Bitcoin and we take a 19% drop from where we're at right now, that would be a double bottom for Bitcoin as well, which would be somewhere between this 3x short and 2x short. So maybe Bitcoin holds up a little bit better and it holds this support at around 19K. That scenario would be a pretty mild drop in my opinion. Yeah, altcoins would probably take a really nasty hit. Even with a 20% drop to Bitcoin, it would probably be painful. We do have this green dashed easy band level kind of coming in this range too. But that would be a very mild scenario where, that would be the logical next leg down if this support breaks downwards. Now, we've gotten these bear flags over and over again, but what you have to consider is that there's much less room to go down now and much more incentive to buy Bitcoin or crypto in general the lower it gets. So yes, these bear flags have resolved downwards typically, but we're starting to get to a point where the incentive to buy down here at 14 to 16K is much, much higher than the incentive that was to buy at 25K. So you kind of have those like diminishing marginal moves to the downside over time. Now, as far as bear scenarios based off of this last local high and where short pressure can continue to drive Bitcoin down to, realistically 12.6K, right? And we have that green bold easy band coming down, and that's the 12K scenario. I don't think we'd get down to 10K or below 10K. I really just don't think that's likely. If we were to go sideways here back into the last market cycle, we just have tons and tons of previous resistance and what would be future support around that 12 to 12.6K range. That would be right now, with this local high, my absolute bottom scenario that I think is plausible. I'm not worried about 6K unless we go down to 12.6K, get a bounce, and then even then, I'm really, really not worried about 6K. I think that'd be pretty crazy. But 19K support level and 16.8K support level. If we also move this local high up to our previous high, we see that we're kind of battling this as resistance right now. We're getting consolidation between this uptrend line, the bottom portion of our channel, our bear flag here, but also the 2x short margin pressure level. So this margin pressure level and this is still in play. This is at 16.2K. So kind of my second line of support, if we make new lows, is between $16.2 and $16.8 thousand. However, I would be I'd be surprised. I'd be a little bit surprised if this support didn't hold. And I think this would be a really good opportunity to see a double bottom and give a lot of if we got a double bottom at 19K, I think it would give investors and market participants a lot of confidence about this support level holding, because it essentially would have held 4 times at this point. Once, kind of 3 times consecutively with, 1 wick down, but then holding a second time. That double bottom works as a bullish pattern because it gives so much confidence that yes, there are buyers down there and the lows are potentially in. So if we hold at 18.9 to 19K on this, this kind of soft support of the easy band, green easy band range coming in, I think that could be bearish September. Then we come in and start rallying post merge and come up and try to at least test these resistance levels again around 21 to 24K. But yeah, a lot of potential volatility. But absolutely, if Bitcoin starts falling over, pay attention to 19K, 18.9K. And if we break below it and make resistance on it, it's probably going down to like 16.2 or 16.8, and hopefully not down to like 14 or 12. But ultimately, that's the level that I want to watch the most and keep an eye on the most is 18.9K. These previous lows here, which also are overlapping with our margin pressure level here at 18.9K, if I could get this on the correct wick.
Crazy how accurate those margin pressure levels are.
And then for those that are new here, because we got a decent amount of people in the chat. For those of you that are new, would you mind giving a quick summary of what those margin pressure levels are for those that might not be familiar with it?
Yep. So margin pressure levels simply isolate for the leverage trading incentives in the market. So leverage traders, as they enter and exit positions, especially large positions and large funds that are not necessarily, we're not necessarily talking always about retail traders here, even though it does apply to retail traders. But a lot of funds will use 1x to 2x, maybe even 3x, 4x leverage, but really low leverage, or they'll even use like 1.2 to 1.5x leverage. So what essentially any funds or any market participants that are looking to go short on Bitcoin, they can short Bitcoin on 3x leverage until 18.9K. And yes, of course, as price goes down here, there's nothing stopping them from using 3x short leverage on at below 18.9K, but it's heavily disincentivized by the market because these market participants look at that as a resistance level, right? This local high here, I know it says local low, it's just a glitch in the, I need to go, it's just a typo essentially. This local high, market participants want to keep their liquidation points above this resistance. And because they want to keep their liquidation points above this resistance, they are heavily disincentivized to use 3x leverage once price drops below 18.9K. Right? Because once price drops below 18.9K, if you start going short on 3x leverage, your liquidation point is exposed. It's exposed. It's down here, right? And because we had such a large drop, right, that increases the strength of this support level, right? So it's not like we had a drop where we kind of laddered down and there's like marginal, additional marginal levels that they can just creep their stop losses down to or their liquidation points down to. No, it was pretty abrupt. So if we drop again, in fact, I'd probably be fairly confident that this level would hold because of how abrupt this drop was. Now, if we came back up to, let's say, 23K, and we started holding this level as resistance, and then we dropped, well, then we have to take our margin pressure levels off of the new local high, and that's going to bring that support level down a notch. And now all of a sudden, we're probably looking at support down here, right? If that makes sense.
And for someone, me personally, I've been looking at charts and using charts to trade for years. And I love the simplicity of the CryptoStackers platform. So if you're a chart trader, if you're a chart person trading, or you just are a novice, go check out the CryptoStackers platform. The link is in our bio. It is not an affiliate link. We just put it on there because we love the product so much.
Or just,
it's made me a crap load of money.
Outside of also trading, sometimes, if you're just not looking at the charts, or you're just simply looking at a chart without any information outside of the price movement, you might just FOMO into something just because of the narrative. And so sometimes it's good to see if something...
it takes all emotion out of it.
Yeah,
you just literally pick a top or a bottom and bam, you have all your
overbought, oversold, So, yeah.
By the way, very impressive for us that you put all of this together yourself. That was amazing.
Oh, much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, this is personally how I appreciate you guys speaking, highly of it. This is how I trade. This is how I make money in crypto. This is what I use. This is the system I use to just basically identify support and resistance. We see the resistance came in very nicely off of this local low, which was our long levels. And this is what I use. Affiliate links coming soon. Actually, I'm starting an affiliate program soon. So, if you guys want, we'll make sure that you get one.
For sure. I just like the product. So I just you hooked Sin City Crypto up with a lifetime. So we use it all the time, so that alone. But anyways, it looks like you got an ETH chart pulled up.
Yep, we can do this as the last one.
Okay.
This one has really nice confluence. So for anybody who might be curious about how to actually use these tools, we have the long margin pressure levels, the short margin pressure levels, and the risk reward lines. Basically, I've got tutorials, and I'll put out additional tutorials. You basically line up the highs and the lows. You select the local highs and the local lows, and this essentially just isolates for trading incentives in the market, right? So the risk to reward levels are the white lines. Those are just showing us that, hey, as soon as price goes below this level, the risk to reward is dropping off a cliff. It's going below 1-to-1. As soon as it drops below this level, it's going up to 2-to-1, right? So it's incentivizing buyers at these levels. So they oftentimes act as support and resistance. Support as you approach from above, resistance as you approach from below. Now, Ethereum is really attractive to trade right now. And it's very attractive to trade right now because it has a lot of confluence between all three of these indicators. You see that we've lined up our last local low with our last local high with all of these indicators, and they're all aligned. Like a lot of times when you do this, sometimes they'll just be kind of scattered all the way through, and you don't get a really clean read on where the strongest levels are. And you could get a bounce at any point. However, on Ethereum right now, we have lined up perfectly. We've gotten these really strong confluent levels across all of our indicators, which resulted in a very strong, nice bounce at 1520 or so at these three levels. Right now, we've broken through and made support on top of this 2-to-1. I personally am looking for a little bit of a short right here at this 3-to-1 level, hopefully to ride it back down. Now, I know I said I'm super bullish on Ethereum, but I'm expecting volatility until the merge, and I'll happily range trade with a short-term outlook with my short-term portfolio. Totally separate portfolio than my long ETH spot positions. So I'm potentially looking for a short here. If we went and had time, we could go through and I'd show you the additional confluence that we have if we select some other local highs and local lows. As far as resistance at 1770 or so, we might not make it up there. But if we do, there's a strong chance we'll get a little bit of resistance. If we break through it, make support on top of it, I'll be happy to flip long all the way up to 2K again. 2K was our resistance, as you can see up here, as denoted by our 2x long margin pressure level off of that local low. But I'm looking for a little short position, and we'll happily close that position or buy back and go long again, looking for another bounce or potential double bottom in this 1520 zone. If we drop below 1520, that's beautiful because we ultimately have a very strong support level, another triple confluence level at 1350, which already held as support over here. So that would be another double bottom potential. So watch out for this head and shoulders developing. That's another reason why I'm considering going short. It would be a really nice trade to get short here and then basically break even on this trade and be super profitable on the reversal double bottom of that head and shoulders. So that's the plan for ETH for me.
And head and shoulders do typically break to the downside as long as it crosses the neckline.
Yep.
So something we definitely and you're on the 4-hour chart, correct, Forrest?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, a couple of our community members are asking the point system you have on CryptoStackers Pro, where you claim the points, like 50 points a day. Is that for any specific reason? Is that something to kind of keep track of who's using the platform the most?
Yeah. So it's kind of like whose line is it anyways right now. The points are made up and they don't matter. They may have utility or
that was a great
use
show,
in the
by
future,
the way.
but it's kind of a scoring system. It's kind of like a badge of honor. Might be able to do some like badges or something aesthetic in the future. For a while, I was considering doing some sort of whitelisting partnerships with other projects, but the NFT space as a whole has really degraded, and there's not a lot of quality projects out there that I'd want to support in terms of collaborating for whitelists. So right now, not doing anything big with them. It's just they're kind of a cool thing to to have see how many you've collected. But they may in the future have some use cases.
Cool.
Awesome.
You got anything else? You got any other charts you wanted to show for us, or are you?
I'm happy to go over any charts that you'd be curious to look at. Otherwise, I'm covered a lot there.
Okay. One question, less than 2 minutes.
Please don't be another barbecue pizza.
It's not barbecue pizza. So, did you hear about the white hat hacker that returned 90% of the stolen funds from the Nomad Bridge and got a white hat NFT as his reward? Did you hear about that?
We were arguing about this one yesterday.
I saw a headline. I didn't dive into it, so okay. No, I haven't seen like a official story on it.
If you return funds,
if you return 90% of the stolen funds, you got a white hat NFT. No utility.
No utility. But what I was saying is that, our argument was here. He was saying that not worth anything. It's stupid.
That's like a pat on the back.
Yeah.
And my argument was, return millions of dollars.
This could be one of the biggest unicorns in the NFT sector, because you got to literally pay millions of dollars to receive one. And you got a 1 of 1 or a 1 of 3. Depends on how many people.
Yeah, but who else? Who's going to buy that? Right? Something is only worth what someone else is willing to pay. Who the hell is going to pay $5 million for a hat? Right? I mean, come on.
I could see it as like a pretty serious badge of honor that shows like you have a lot of technical skill, enough technical skill to actually hack a platform, and then you're a good enough person to give 90% of the funds back.
So you're saying it's
interesting?
Like
I don't know who the buyers are going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know who the buyers would be. Maybe it becomes like as more platforms get hacked and more, white hat NFTs get out there, maybe it becomes like a rare thing where they do sell for a high amount. I doubt they would sell for nearly as much as like what the hacked funds are worth. But it also does sound like a potential way to sweeten the pot of the normal 10% deal. Like maybe the white hat could end up being worth, a little bit of money, and that's a little extra bonus. Or maybe it's just bragging rights. I don't know. I could see. I find it interesting.
You put up a good
no. What he's saying
there with
he says is BS. That's what he said.
No. So here's the thing. I play a lot of video games, and you play Xbox. You get those achievements, and so when you every once in a while you get a super rare achievement, and you're like, bro, take a look at that one.
Yeah, but you're not dealing with millions of dollars that you willingly give back.
Hey,
yeah. Bro. So imagine though, I'm not crazy bullish on blockchain gaming in the short term, but in the longer term, so imagine you're playing like World of Warcraft or Fortnite or something, and your character has the white hat NFT skin, and that means that that has the white hat, that signifies that, okay, that dude who's playing the video game hacked a protocol. I don't know how that would work from security, standpoint. What do you have to give your identity to Fortnite to play Fortnite? I don't know. But some of these very high achievement based NFTs, I think could have value in the metaverse / some blockchain games as skins.
Yeah,
that's an interesting thing.
Even say you play 500 hours of game time, you receive a certain NFT, and people just don't want to go through the grind to get it, but yet they want the NFT. We've seen examples and time after time where things that take a while to achieve in World of Warcraft, to be honest with you, where you could just sell those on the open market. And I think NFTs basically make it simple and remove the complexity of a third party out of that. So,
but here, okay, and just to wrap this up, you say you compare it to kind of like getting a Purple Heart or Medal of Honor. Do you ever see those being sold on the market? Are people paying $5 million? No. So looks like
$5 million for a white hat NFT.
Yeah, would you pay $10 million for a white hat? I mean,
no. I mean that price sounds like, I'm not saying
the value is sentimental. Okay, it's a badge of honor. I get it.
Okay, so what about this? What about there's 50 hacks in the next couple of years. There's 50 white hats out there. What if they all get to join a Discord together, and you have the smartest hackers all in one Discord group because they own a white hat, kind of like Ether Rocks? that could be pretty attractive for somebody who's a hacker to get access to a group of people like that. I don't know. There's use cases because essentially what you're doing with that NFT is like you're identifying somebody's skill. Like you're identifying that, hey, this is a very skilled like hacker. And once it's transferred away from that person, maybe it loses some value, maybe. But if the majority of these white hat NFT holders are like super hackers, super skilled hackers, then maybe there's some benefit to that. I don't know, but people have too much money. If there's only 50 of these things or only 10 of these things, like people are spending millions of dollars on Ether rocks. Like we get another speculative market, maybe that becomes the new cool thing to go for. But yeah, I personally wouldn't buy.
Time will tell. Forrest, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Robert, you got anything to add before we let our man go?
Hey, man.
Forrest, enjoy your wedding, my friend. Will you be dancing at the wedding?
Probably, yeah.
What kind of we talking?
It's not my wedding. I'm already married, guys. But
no, I know. My apologies. Sorry, he's attending someone else's wedding. My apologies.
Is it going to be one of those weddings where you put somebody in the chair? What
those are Armenian weddings.
Those are Armenian
and Greek weddings.
And Greek weddings?
Well,
no.
Yeah.
No chair.
No, it'll just be like a normal.
Are you more of a salsa breakdancer kind of guy? What's your style for?
Oh no, I'm a pretty terrible dancer. There's a pretty bad stereotype. Like wrestlers in general make bad dancers. I try to keep it very basic, keep the attention off me. But
What about
I'll get out there. I'm not afraid to.
I feel
to give it.
Wrestling and breakdancing kind of look the same, man. You're kind of rolling around in a little spot, Like.
All right, Forrest, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate it. We will see you next Friday. And guys, if you're not following Forrest on Twitter, it's at 0xstacker. Also, make sure you go subscribe to his YouTube channel. With that being said, Forrest, thank you so much again. Enjoy your weekend, my friend, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Have a good weekend.
Take care. Man. Forrest.
When's the last time you went to a
Thanks,
wedding?
Rocco.
He seems like a salsa dancer.
Forrest? You look like... You still taking your ballroom dancing lesson?
You shut your mouth. All right. Rocco. You know what time it is, baby. What time is it, Don?
What time is it?
Don Corleone, what time?
Talking points.
Talking points, baby. Let's go. It was in the title. It was in the thumbnail. Ethereum Foundation announces... We are ready, by the way. Ethereum Foundation announces official date for the merge. This is a source from Crypto Potato. The mainnet migration to a proof-of-stake network will complete between September 10th and September 20th with the Bellatrix upgrade. The ETH developers had earlier speculated that the date for the transition could be around September 15th through 16th, but these are developers. This is coming directly from the company, from the Ethereum Foundation. And then moving on. This is a quote from the Ethereum Foundation. Following years of hard work, ETH's proof-of-stake upgrade is finally here. The successful upgrade of all public testnets is now complete, and the merge has been scheduled for the Ethereum mainnet. And just so you guys understand what effect this is going to have. So the left dashed line, the purple one, was when the EIP 1559 proposal was put through the upgrade, which made ETH deflationary first. And you can see what happened to the net issuance as far as percentage. It dropped from about 4.7% down immediately to 2.5%. And looking back or looking forward at the gray dash line, that is when the merge is going to happen. And they're expecting it to go from about, let's just call it 3% down to over negative 1%. So less and less Ethereum will be available on the market. Okay. The inflation rate reduces. It becomes even more deflationary. There is no selling pressure from miners. Will this moonshot the price of Ethereum to 4, 5, 6 grand? Robin? What? Hold on real quick. My cousin's like, hey, I watched your show, man. Your delivery's getting really good. It's starting to sound like you should be on Channel 3 News. Thank you very much. So, Robin, with that being said, are we going to see a $4,000 Ethereum?
Hell no.
Why?
Not in the short term. I
You're
am
lame.
still in the camp that we're gonna get I think we're gonna get a bullish scenario for Ethereum. I think we will get a rally. I think 24,000 or 2,400 would be the highest end for me when it comes to Ethereum on the short term in the next 6 months. Basically, I do think you're gonna test the $2,000 mark, but pull back. You know what? I think we could break. I think we'll break the 2,000 mark. I think 2,200 is probably, I think, the top in my opinion.
For me, if NFTs start making a comeback and DeFi didn't go through the crap storm it just went through,
NFTs are not going to make a comeback in the next 6 months.
Okay.
In the next 6 months, DeFi ain't going to make a comeback.
Nike's making money on NFTs. All you need is more of these large brands to come in. The play to earn space to get going.
It's the retail. The volume is not there. The retail is not as excited. And you know what? Right now, you just got to consolidate, build, shake out some of the crap projects, and then basically wait for the next wave of NFTs, the evolution, new NFTs. Maybe it's in the music sector. Maybe it's just an evolution of the NFTs that we have now with the incorporation of utility. Maybe it's more gaming NFTs, as kind of we discussed. But I do think that something fundamentally has to change for there to be a massive rally, a rally that's so massive that it pulls the entire Ethereum network up. Now, we did see a rally like that before. The Ethereum network rallied with the adoption of NFTs in mainstream. So I'm not saying that that's not possible. I just don't think it's possible right now. And you know, I mean, Bored Apes are crashing, and that's the blue chip. And so for me, like NFTs, like rallying and pulling the entire Ethereum network up, not going to happen. Now, also, I want to harp on the fact that when this merge happens, nothing changes for the user, nothing. And we've seen time and time again, example after example. When there's all this hype for something and then it comes out and it's underwhelming, then you know people are like, okay, they sell off. That's what happens. The same thing when you upgrade from your iPhone 12 to 13. You're all excited, you unbox it, and you realize it doesn't do anything different than the last one. Your camera's got a little bit more resolution, but you after 3 days of playing around with it, you don't even notice it anymore. And so until you zoom out and you let this play through, then it'll be a factor. But right now, I think people are going to be disappointed. I think the steam is going to leave the Ethereum bullish narrative after the upgrade. It is the next step in the roadmap. The roadmap is sexy. They're going to be more scalable, faster, more throughput down the road. Doesn't come with this upgrade, though. Just goes to proof of stake. And you know what? If proof of stake is so great, then why isn't all of the other proof of stake layer ones just going crazy? And think about it. Everyone's like, well, you know, institutions are going to adopt and FOMO in. Well, you could adopt and FOMO in on Cardano.
But this is the
on
largest
Binance Smart Chain, on Solana.
Okay, but this is the largest and most secure network in the layer one space.
I disagree. It is not the most secure. It literally broke.
What's more secure than
It literally
Ethereum?
broke 5 years ago. Literally, we have Ethereum Classic.
Right now,
Ethereum Classic is
Robin.
is
right
the skeleton.
now, right now, what is the most secure layer one?
Bitcoin.
No, okay, smart contract layer one.
I don't. Everything
ETH, bro.
everything is so new. I don't agree with that. They literally forked their entire network not that long ago.
5 years ago.
When was it? When was it? 2017.
5 years ago is more than half.
Well, what I'm saying is that like you fundamentally broke your protocol and forked it to another chain, and instead and you talked and you rolled back the transactions. You literally manipulated your own network. You rolled back transactions, and you made a new chain. And this was in recent memory. And so to say that's the most secure network, I disagree. You know what? Like, okay, let's just take Cardano for example. Has Cardano ever broken one time? Has anybody literally had their testnet?
A year ago they had smart contracts.
Okay, then well, I'm just saying that if for security wise, looking at your resume, your history, no blemishes. And so if you're going to make a case, the most secure network, well, they haven't had any issues. So technically, if you're going to look at resume, okay, you fundamentally broke. You had to restart a whole nother chain and rewind transactions. And you created a fork in another chain off of that. Millions of people lost millions of dollars. And then you can't, for me, you can't make that argument. You just take the next one up, Cardano. Literally, that has not happened. And so, no, they're not the most secure. I highly disagree with you.
So why are projects consistently building on
They are
Ethereum?
the most popular. They have the most market adoption. They have the most market cap. They're the one that you want to go. They're the ones that the dApps want to develop on.
Okay, why though? Why?
Because they were the first one out. You could say the same thing about Litecoin last bull cycle. You know,
No one was building on Litecoin.
in 2017, you could say the same thing about Litecoin. Be like, well, Litecoin's been around. Look at the adoption. Look where it can go. It provides privacy. Nobody else is offering that. But you know what? They didn't upgrade. They didn't move. Things replaced them. And all I'm saying,
They're saying Ethereum's going to get replaced.
I'm answering your question. Most secure, no. That's all I'm saying. And so, most secure, no. Fastest, no. The only reason it is where it is because it's the first. And it's been out for a while.
The only reason, huh?
It is. I mean, fundamentally speaking, you can make an argument that Polkadot, Cardano, Algorand, Avalanche all have more features faster or more efficient than Ethereum. The only reason that Ethereum is ahead of it is because it's been around for longer. It's been tested and prodded and poked, been through things, and people are more comfortable with it.
So they trust it more. They think it's more secure.
No, they like time in the market. It does not mean it's more secure. How many Ethereum hacks have you heard about? And usually they're bridge hacks and they're not on the main chain. I get that, but they have had a very spotty record. It was only 2 years ago there was a fundamental glitch or code issue in Ethereum, and after they upgraded it, this was less than 2 years ago. This was it was a little over a year ago. Vitalik came out and said we had a catastrophic bug that we fixed. Thank God. And so, if a hacker would have found that, they could have literally broke the chain less than 2 years ago.
And if you would have left your door unlocked last night and someone just so happened to come by your door, they could have broken into your house.
You have the founder of Ethereum.
But how many of these instances do we not hear of in other networks?
What I'm saying is that for me, you can't make the argument that they're the most secure chain because they're not. They literally have broken. They literally have been snapped in half like a chicken bone. Seriously, man.
You ever do the wishbone thing? Or is that just like a...
Corny.
That's what?
5 years old?
I'm not saying it. We're going to... I'm saying, did you ever do it? Whether growing up or...
Have you ever made a sandcastle?
When did you do it? Last night.
How come you shut your mouth?
Have you ever had sand stuck in the mesh of your swimming trunks when you go to the beach?
Robin, let me ask you a question.
What?
Do you think this year crypto adoption in the U.S. has grown or declined? Just in 2022, from the beginning of the year.
And 2022 from January to now?
Yeah.
Adoption or market? Market cap.
No,
Money in the
retail
system.
investors purchasing and holding
the retail
cryptocurrency.
investors, the adoption rate and people's exposure to crypto has increased. However, people's portfolio and the market cap has decreased. So are people making money right now? Hell nah. Are people building right now? Are dApps building? Are people getting more exposure to crypto? Yeah.
Let's talk just retail. Just retail in the U.S.
Yeah, I think most of the institution commercial side, I think they are moving at an extremely fast pace. You can look at past market cycles. In the bear market is when building happens. That's where you develop your chain and upgrade it, and that's why we're seeing this now.
Okay, let me ask the chat, okay? Because the next slide I'm going to show. Let me ask the chat. 3 cryptocurrencies that are the most held cryptos amongst U.S. adults. 3 of them. List your 3 what you think they are, okay? Let's go ahead and get look this over. So the first thing, U.S. crypto ownership rises this year to 13% as consumers were hoping to buy the dip. The adoption in the U.S. has expanded with some 13% of American adults owning crypto in July, up from 10% in January of this year. So up 3% in 7 months. U.S.-based men were much more likely to own crypto as they represented 74% of crypto holders in July, and women comprised the remaining 26%. Here's okay, obviously we want more diversification in our space, in any space in general. When you have diversification, whether it's race, ethnicity, gender, whatever the case may be, you have different viewpoints. You have a more well-rounded product, a more well-rounded space. And that doesn't ring more true than in the world of finance and money. Think about it if you're married. I'm married, okay? I've been married for 10 years. My wife does a majority of our finances. When we talk about investing money, sit down, hey, babe, I'm thinking about investing money in this. If a majority of women are the ones who make financial decisions, I find it a little alarming that only 26% of them are holding crypto versus 74% of men. Is it an education gap? Is it the way crypto market is seen as a gambling, right? As like a gambling ring or whatever people want to call it, a casino? I don't know. But what I do know is we need to see more women. And I don't know if that's going to come through educating, cleaning up the space, getting rid of stuff like pump and dumps and meme coins. I don't even know if that's possible. But I don't know. What do you think, Rob? Do you think it's an education thing? Do you think
No, this is just how the world is.
Do you think it's too much of a crypto bro?
It's the exact. This is the same parallel when you go to the stock market. Majority of your investors in Wall Street and legacy finance are male dominant. So off of numbers, that is it. And you know what? If more women in the household control finances at home, I think that the man generally, and I'm just going off of stereotypical, past situations.
You can talk about it. Doesn't mean this is what you believe. It's just this is what it is.
Yeah, there's more men that invest, and so I think that the man in the relationship generally brings in more finance, and so he's the one that brings in more salary or more money, generally. And I think they're also the one that just invest more, and the lady is the one that pays the bills and makes sure that there's the balancing checkbook. And I think that they allot for investing for the man. I think that's just how it's been. I would hope it would change. I think that we have evolved enough in this space to where you are getting that line is now more blurred, and I think we're starting to shift into more of a shared finance in an overall hey, we're working on this together because. It wasn't that long ago.
This is from my personal experience, and part of it's cultural, part of it's how it was. My parents, my mom stayed home and raised the kids.
Those days are leaving.
That's
quick.
what I'm saying. And my dad would make the money, bring it home. My mom would pay all the bills.
Yeah.
And so just because what Robin stated, doesn't mean it's what he believes in or what he thinks is right. It's just how it's been.
I'm just looking on historical data. And maybe I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you can't argue with the fact that it was only 30, 40 years ago, a very small percentage of women were out in the workforce, and now they're dominant and they're out there. And you know what? Now you have two incomes, and a lot of it comes from the cost of living.
Right.
It's hard to, with inflation and the price of housing and utilities, it's hard to provide enough with one person to provide enough to cover all utilities and the rent. And so you kind of have to have two people in together. I mean, realistically, that's just the way it's going.
It's gonna. You kind of have to. You kind of have to. And strictly
you get
sports,
a babysitter. You send them off to school and after school.
Sometimes the second job is just to pay the babysitter, right? Or part of it is. And Strictly Sports brings up a good point. Rocco, will you highlight his crypto and NFT space is mostly dominated by men? A little up. Second, one more. Yeah, there you go. Feels more like a gambling scene.
I think,
and it is a proven fact. Men gamble more than women, and that's why the question I asked was: Is it just what's hanging over the crypto world? Is just a casino, or is it people need to be more educated?
Now, this I think is going to change because I think that when you go to art galleries, those tend to be heavily influenced with the female scene, and I think that. There is a less of a separation on men and women when it comes to art and creativity. And so I think the NFT space, when it comes to art and expression, I think that is going to be more 50-50. and that is coming soon. And it, you know, right now, dominated by the male demographic, not for very long. Now, as far as investing in finance, I think that's going to be a little bit longer. I think as women take more control of the finances, or you know, a lot of times there's a lot of ladies make more money now than the man.
I don't give a crap
So-
if you're man, woman, black, white. I don't give a shit. If you are more talented, you should get paid more money.
Yeah, 100%, man.
All right.
It should be skills and experience, man.
Without further ado, we're going to wrap it up like this. I asked, what are your three? I saw a lot of ETH, a lot of Bitcoin. I saw some Matic, saw some Cardano. Well, here you go. Here is what the U.S. adults, the three coins they're invested in. 36% Bitcoin, which is in obviously orange. Blue is Ethereum at 25%. Coming in, matching Ethereum is Dogecoin at 25%. And green is other at 14%. Are you... I mean, Doge as a third one? I mean, yeah, we had... okay, someone said SHIB. We had Matic in there, ADA.
Yeah, strictly sport, nail it. BTC,
Did he?
BTC, Doge, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Let's give him a round of applause, Rocco. Strictly sports. So interesting to see, even though prices are down, people are still buying more crypto, at least here in the United States. That number will continue to grow. And as it grows, our space will grow as well. With that being said, we are done with the show. Please make sure you go check out all of our social media channels. We are pretty active on Twitter. We just started a TikTok page, Instagram as well. Also, our community ran Discord, created and ran by Mr. Marky Mark himself. So when Sin City Crypto talks, that is Marky Mark. And Robin, Rocco, and I pop in there sporadically. We like to think we're building the best community in the crypto space, and we do that by being engaged with you guys, and we'd hope you guys stay engaged with us as well. Also, our merch store, brought to you by the Don himself. Go check it out, In and Out Crypto. The link, again, is in the description. It looks like Rocco did a poll. Barbecue chicken pizza.
Yes.
54% said yes. Screw you. And screw you too, buddy. Forrest, you're okay because I like you. Anyways, Robin, you got anything else to add?
It.
Guys,
I vote 3 times for the yes. on
You
the
voted 3
barbecue.
times for
Yeah,
yes?
with 3
Why
different
would you do
accounts
that?
To make you win.
Aw,
To make you
Rock.
You see?
I take it back.
I'm gonna make a picture of you with a white hat and a barbecue sauce.
Hey, whatever you want to do. All right, guys, Rocco, roll the outro music. Friends, family, friends and family, family of friends, we thank you so much for spending another one of your days with us here at Sin City Crypto. On behalf of myself, Robin, and the Don, we love you guys. We will see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Vegas time. Until then, peace.